going on, guys, and welcome back to another episode of the German Bear podcast. And today we want to talk about a very much underrated wide receiver in the 2024 draft class that could be a big steal for the Chicago Bears in the later rounds. And guys, this is actually going to be my last video before the actual draft of the Chicago Bears. Draft is tomorrow. Super excited for the entire event. It's going to be 3 great days, and content-wise, you can expect a lot of things too, especially those breakdowns of those players that the Chicago Bears actually drafted. So today we want to take a look at one last draft profile before the draft actually starts, and this has to be an absolute banger, and it's sure going to be, because it's going to be all about Malik Washington today, the wide receiver out of Virginia. He's an undersized wide receiver that offers a lot of great things that I think the Chicago Bears could very much use in the offense moving forward, and we would be a great option for Caleb Williams as a young quarterback in the NFL. So with that being said, let's not waste any more time. Super excited. Let's talk about Malik Washington and what he could offer to the Chicago Bears offense. And as I said in the beginning, Malik Washington is a little bit of an undersized wide receiver. He's 5'8.5", weighs 191 pounds, so he's still a pretty thick wide receiver in terms of his height-weight ratio, actually, so that's pretty good. And I have to say, after watching his tape, he's for sure one of my favorite players in this entire draft class, one of my biggest gems that the Chicago Bears could actually get, because when is the round he's going to go? And I honestly do not know. He could go easily in route number 3, but also in route number 6. So it's really just how the draft develops and which players are being picked by which team who potentially could have a need for him. So that's going to play a big part in that. But for the Chicago Bears, he's a player that they could target later in the draft. And not only if they're not getting a wide receiver with the number 9 overall pick, no, they could stack and double down at wide receiver, because we need more depth. And Malik Washington is a great option to potentially start right away on the Chicago Bears in 2024, but also be a great depth addition and just a playmaker that you can bring in certain situations. We'll talk about that later on in today's video. But let's get into Malik Washington's actual tape. And what can I say about the guy? I mean, first and foremost, he's an absolute playmaker. You want this guy to have the ball in his hands. He's super elusive. I mean, there's one play against North Carolina on tape where he just juked a guy off of the entire field like he was breaking his ankles like crazy with a quick little juke move. And then also the other aspect, he's super strong. He's not only built like a running back, he runs like a running back. There was like one touchdown, I think, against Louisville where he broke literally 4 tackles on a quick dump off pass. So I want a guy like that for my young quarterback, to just get the ball into his hands and he's going to get yards after the catch. That's what the Kansas City Chiefs offense is all about. Why not do that in Chicago as well and get a guy like Malik Washington, because he can 1000% do that. Then in addition to that, he does have really great quickness and change of direction. I mean, he's a smaller guy, so I expect him to be a little bit shiftier and quicker, so he is definitely that as well. He's a solid route runner with some upside. I think he can be better at that, but I mean, he's got Keenan Allen potentially as his mentor and DJ Moore if he actually lands with the Chicago Bears, so he's going to improve in that area by just looking at those guys. So that's good for him, but he does have a solid foundation of route running skills. He plays with leverage, knows what to do against certain looks of the defenders and how to attack those looks, and then also pretty good hip sync, and just overall speaks for his acceleration and deceleration on certain routes, which is going to cause problems to opposing defensive backs. Then one of his biggest strengths actually that you see on tape consistently is his hands. I mean, speaking about that Louisville tape earlier, it was a slot fade that he ran against man coverage and had an outside release there. And what actually happened on that play is that cornerback still had pretty tight coverage on him. But what you need to do, or can do, in that situation as a wide receiver is play with your body and showing hands late. And what did he do right here? Eyes always on the quarterback and the ball in that situation, always looking over his shoulder. He stays with that cornerback to then later in that route create separation by turning on an extra gear late in that route to get that separation, as I said. And then really strong on staying in his route with not getting dragged out by the cornerback. Super laid hands. I really love that on that route. No chance for the defensive back to react to that. And then on that play, he needs to stretch his entire body, full extension to get to that football and shows some really good hand-eye coordination on that play and tracks that ball and gets that ball for an amazing catch. So that was really impressive to see on tape. But overall, for his hands, very soft hands, always attacks the football. He can go up and get the football. I mean, when you look at his combine numbers, he shows that. He had a vertical jump of 42.5 inches, which is really, really nice. And you see that jump ability on tape. I mean, he can go up and get the football and play bigger than his size indicates. And I think there was one, I don't know against which team, maybe Louisville, maybe actually Duke. I think it was the Duke tape where he got up, just jumped out of the gym, and then located the football, full extension of his arms, and made a great catch there. So really good job of locating the football as well and just playing bigger than he actually is. And then lastly, he catches everything. His route tree was pretty simple at Virginia. They schemed him open a lot too, but he catches the football, and that's the most important aspect next to route running for me personally for a wide receiver. He needs to make those catches. If he cannot catch, he's not going to make it to the league, and he can 1000% catch the ball. Now, for the last big pro that I want to talk about, it's his zone understanding. He had a lot of options / read routes that he ran for Virginia and mastered that route with reading leverage and just working away from coverage and giving easy completions to the quarterback. And then also on developing routes that are deeper down the field, he consistently finds the green and just settles in between the zone, not just blindly continue running his route. So I really like that on tape too. But with that being said, let's actually move on and talk about his cons lastly here in today's video. I mean, first of all, he is probably limited to the slot because of his strength. He's going to be a pure slot receiver in the NFL. He mostly was that at Virginia too. Now, can you put him in at running back or at wide receiver getting an H-jet or a reverse or something like that? 1000%. He can be a ball carrier. As I said, he's built like a running back and he runs like a running back, but he's probably not going to survive on the outside, and that's not what he's meant to be in the NFL anyways, or in college football. So that's kind of a limiting factor with him when you draft him. That's going to kind of drop his draft stock a little bit. Then his true deep speed, he's more quick than fast, but his short area quickness to mid-level quickness is absolutely elite. He ran a 4.47 40-yard dash. That's still pretty quick, or really, really fast. I mean, we're talking about elite athletes here, but at the end of the day, he's more quick than fast. And then lastly, he's going to struggle a little bit against press coverage. He's a strong and thick-built dude, but still, he can be a little bit clamped up if he's being pressed, so he can work on that still. It's just all about strength and core strength and also hand placement, but still, that could be something that he will struggle on early on in his NFL career. But with that being said, overall for Malik Washington, he's going to be a guy that the Chicago Bears could attack at day 2 or early day 3 to late day 3, actually. I mean, as I said, his range where he could be drafted is pretty big, and I don't know where he actually goes, but he's going to be a very intriguing option for me personally to support Caleb Williams in his rookie season and also get another absolute playmaking type of a player that can run routes well, has amazing hands, and is just so dangerous with the ball in his hands too. So I think he's a great prospect. Really enjoyed watching his tape, and if you still got time, make sure to check him out as well. I hope Malik Washington is going to be a Chicago Bear after the 2024 draft is over. And with that being said, guys, that's the end of the episode. As I said, draft content is going to be a lot of stuff going on, and I'm super excited what's going to happen. Expect a lot of great videos coming out over the next couple of weeks. Like and subscribe if you liked the video. Check out Instagram and Twitter if you want to as well. And as always, guys, bear down.